Villager 64. Hello there, everybody, and right there is the barrier wall of Chile's Earth event. Let's have a look at the spawn. Somebody tried to make a sky platform here. I'll blow the place to ashes. I think they got their wish. Today we'll be taking a look at Chile's Earth event's map 2 years on from when the event occurred to talk about what changed in the map during the event, the fate of its structures, and some help from Chile himself to give us a rough outline of the events that transpired during this 2-day event. So, first on the list, North America. This continent suffered from a major setback in the event. A player known as Spectre attacked multiple settlements throughout the continent, displacing their team near the start of the event. Their structure was eventually discovered by the Europeans. Okay, so here we are on the Earth event map. We're going to do structures, then team bases. So America is quite special. It has 2 structures because one of them was cut. If you just take a leap of faith, you land in this nifty little mineshaft. We have a little room, and inside we would find the Feather of Demetrios, which, when used, would allow players to summon a storm. It doesn't do that, obviously, because it never got coded. So, let's just put the feather back. What's over here? No, that was just a bluff. Let's move on to the other structure in America. Located in Greenland, this was surrounded by loads of different loots and ores, and in the centre here was a podium with a sponge on it. Chile and I called them nukes. And we basically gave nukes to North America, particularly, and Antarctica. But now, let's head south and learn a little bit about the civilizations of North America. So, Chile, tell us a little bit about this settlement here.
Latte was responsible for doing the griefing. He was a member of Europe, and it was burnt to the ground.
You made it into a YouTube short at one point, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
This house is surprisingly intact, I'd say.
So, America ended up factionalized during the event. This team was called, Chicago. The leader of this place was someone called Yugi Puzzle One. The players did their own thing and then ended up getting killed by the Europeans. Here's an example of Spectre's hacking.
Oh.
It just looks like a load of random stuff, but this is actually a scaffold hack.
Oh, and you kind of fly up and it makes a scaffold whilst you're flying. Let's move on to the next continent, Chile.
Yeah.
South America. This continent got an ideal start. They spawned right next to their structure, Fort Dimitri, and expanded to the south. The teams set up base and had substantial head start with many resources from the fort. They would later easily repel an attack from a European strike team, but unfortunately were wiped out by the time of the final battle. So here we are at Fort Dimitri. This fortress, built on the cusp of the Amazon rainforest, it's been ransacked, unfortunately. I like the texturing I did here. Around this structure, a team eventually set up camp. So let's go have a chat with Chile and find out more about those 2 separate factions.
I can say a bit about this place. Some naughty person just tried to escape, and
I vividly remember this area here. This was a slime spawner, wasn't it?
slime farm, yeah.
The Europeans attacked this place first, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Because
but never.
you can see some of the damage done here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can see they were mining this
But keep going.
little thing. Let's go to the northern part of South America.
Yeah, also one of Spectre's ruins.
That makes sense. And this farm obviously ravaged by Spectre. And I believe this looks like a treehouse as well.
Yeah, there's also a mine down here.
There is a netherwart farm behind the portal.
Let's leave the area.
Yeah, let's move on to the next, which is going to be Europe. This team's players spawned near their structure too. A player called Lafay claimed the flame sword from its pedestal. He would later become the military leader of Europe. The main base was set up in the UK, and this was where the greatest player activity in the event was. The team was the most aggressive in the event, however dividing leadership sent the Europeans into the final battle disorganised. This was their downfall. Why? Well, we'll get into that later. If we just take a stroll through the forests of Scandinavia, we come across the pedestal of the flame sword. This country actually had their special item fully implemented because all we needed to do was add some enchantments to a special netherite sword. If we compare it to the photos that I have from the before section, you can see that there is basically no difference apart from the lack of netherite sword in an item frame. Quite happy with that. Let's bring in Chile again and learn a little bit about Europe's main base in the UK. Oh, there's so much to say about this place. Where do we begin?
Let's start with the bridge. I don't know how effective this really was. We stayed up super late. You're welcome.
Coolx and Spec built the wall. Oh, there's a strip mine here.
The builder of this was Zeno.
This was the mine that I remember. Yeah, this was the original entrance. They blocked it off, right? Laura Ball and Lafay.
I think it was that. Yeah, I think it was there.
I believe they gave a speech.
I think it was just a random speech.
I gave the players this block of
It's
amethyst.
actually broken.
They decided to make a little bit of a shrine. No, my shrine! Oh, I think this is it. This is the flying machine.
Oh,
there.
The real deal's there. Do you think it still works?
Yeah. XYXY's flying machine flies again. I remember people were falling off all of the time. Let's move on to our next continent then, shall we? Africa. Like most of the continents next on the list, this team was left without a leader. Therefore, they were scattered and unorganised. A player triggered the traps of the pyramid, destroying all of the valuables within and giving them a major disadvantage to the other teams. The rest of the continent was relatively nomadic, with a few small settlements scattered across the land. Unfortunately, the peaceful lives of the Africans was disrupted during the final battle and the intercontinental war of the Europeans. Well, we've arrived in Africa. These pyramids are inspired by the pyramids of Giza. I was going to make 3, but time constraints. There was a mob spawner attached to that chain. I believe South America got their mob spawner from Fort Dimitri. There was a few traps here. Here was where I had a little statue of a pharaoh. A player called Lemonade A came to explore this structure. So a player was unfortunately TP'd next to them and they fell onto a pressure plate here. And unfortunately that blew the Pharaoh King's tomb sky high. It was filled with so much good loot. This explosion here looks like that of a nuke. There was a final battle that took place, and I'm gonna let me and Chile delve into that at the end of the video. Let's instead talk a little bit about their team and what mishaps they got up to.
So this place was built by 2 players, Mr. Easy and Duke Osman.
So this was the main settlement in Africa then, wasn't it, really?
Basically, this was the base of Phil Kabuki.
Ah, another player that I remember vividly. Let's have a look at their stuff. Chile.
I did actually remember there being a farm outside, but that's just gone. There's also a mine down here.
In the final battle, they kind of got eliminated quite quickly because of their small numbers. Let's go see the next location, everybody. Asia. Also without a leader, the vast landscape made it hard for any Asians to unite. Many of them left for Europe, but not without a small group of explorers entering their structure, Bradley's Bruise, and severely damaging it. No, don't burn. Welcome everybody to Bradley's Bruise. I was so proud of making this tavern. Alright, on one side of the screen I'm showing this structure, and on the other side we'll have it intact. This is such a contrast. It hurts. But you know what? Let's let's stop dilly-dallying. Let's take a look inside. So, oh yeah, there was a dark side to Bradley's bruise. See, Bradley was not your ordinary fellow. He was, in fact, a witch. Yes, well, this isn't actually Bradley. This is Ben. Bradley had 3 brothers, and they were witches that disguised themselves as villagers to lure in innocent players, and, of course, villagers, to use them for their own dubious experiments. Their structure wasn't actually looted. We've got 5 golden apples in here, and disc 13. Here we have some nether warts, and here we have the fish tank. The Bradley brothers were extracting the essence of the fish. Maybe I'll rebuild this someday and restore it to its former glory. The unfortunate thing about Asia is that there wasn't really anything to see civilization-wise, so I suppose let's move on. Oceania. This team's leader was unable to make the event, leading to a player called Housemouse to take charge. A base was established in Australia, and they quickly looted their structure. The rock gave them essential supplies that allowed them to progress. They used this advantage to raid the Antarcticans on day 2. However, this team was eventually eliminated. Do you see it through the cactus? Here, we find the rock. Inside, there is a outer casing. They mined quite a lot of the obsidian. And inside the barrel, there was a bunch of loot. Let's see what they managed to get achieved with that loot from the rock by having a look at their base over here.
I remember this.
Yes, I do as well.
Australia were not here for the final battle, but a player called Housebots got into a lot of this.
See.
No.
But Chile, you choose.
No, genuinely, I didn't put it like that.
I think you have a secret admirer. So yeah, they had this cobblestone basalt generator. Housemouse got really set up here. Did Housemouse have any teammates, or was he alone in it?
Like 5 of them.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's quite a lot of diamonds. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got that much. Oh.
Pick it up.
No. That's all we have to say about Australia. So let's move on to the final location, hey? Antarctica. This snowy environment may have seemed daunting for some, but to a brave group of players, this was the perfect opportunity. They managed to set civilization up, exploring their structure and mob farm to get a relatively substantial advantage against other teams. They established a solid base with only 4 players, and, with experience on their side, these warriors managed to take down European leadership and secure victory with the nuke they acquired from their structure. This is the ice cavern. Gosh, I'm freezing. I need to step out of that. The idea was that out of snow that the skeletons are falling through. The players, they wouldn't know where it comes from. Itsauto and their teammates made a farm to get arrows and bones and whatnot. Here we are. This was where the library was originally meant to be. A book was placed. The concept of the book was that you'd be able to ban a player with it 3 times in one day, something along those lines. So that is the 3rd and final special item. The Feather of Demetrios from North America, the Flame Sword from Europe, and the Ban Book from Antarctica. However, 2 of these did not come into fruition.
The middle base is probably the most intact out of all of them.
The Antarcticans were invaded by the Europeans, so they towered up and hid on top of the world. Eagle Power came up with one of his friends, and he was thrown off the side of the world by the Antarcticans, but he managed to survive, and they allowed him to join the team. They have an Ender Pearl stasis chamber that's still active. Oh, it was Gabby Gaming 12's house, I see. Here we have cave. Ideally, there would be a load of animals inside of the pen. They'll start dying of anti-gramming if you put any more in, Chile. House that is infamously deemed the Among Us house due to its sus appearance. They have an enchanting setup. Oh wow. They were well equipped, one could say. They accumulated a lot of trees.
I think we get all done, to be fair.
Let's have a look at the location of the final battle and wrap up this tour video.
Over here was the last battle.
Final blow that secured the Antarcticans' victory. We can see evidence through the cobwebs and the obsidian. And Lidruls was the last one, and then the Antarcticans managed to defeat them. Auto is the one who placed the nuke, right?
I think so.
That's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you want me to make more tour videos like this in the future, then do let me know by leaving a like, joining the Discord, leaving a comment. I'm Villager64, and I hope you all have a good day. That did more damage than the nuke.
They just need to...
Oh, that's a very ominous sound. I wonder what that could be. I'm running.
Eat the apples.
Oh no!
Buddy.
I died.